begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation by Commissioner Finney. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Gracious Heavenly Father, we acknowledge you as the creator of the universe and the author of truth. Father, we also realize that during this season, we're celebrating the birth of your Son, which leads to the cross. Father, we ask each and every person to be mindful of what this season is all about. Father, we ask too that you be with us in this meeting, that as we take care of the county's business, that it would be according to your will and your truth, and that you would guide us in our thoughts, words, and deeds. And Father, we thank you for the abundant moisture that we had this last week or so. And Father, we ask all of these things, bring all of these things to you. In your Son, Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Morning, everyone. The chair comments will circulate on another matter that will be discussed in public comment, but we have showcases that this commission has helped sponsor occurring on February 8th and March 5th here at the 3i building in Garden City. I want to urge business and school participation in those showcases, and we'll hear from Joe Coles here in a little bit in public comment. With that, we'll begin with the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion approved. We will begin public comment today with Joe Coles from the showcases. Please introduce yourself for the viewing public.
Yes, I'm Joe Coles. I'm with Western Kansas Career Showcase. I live in Cimarron. Bob Kreitzer is a board member of ours. We're here today to share with you about our partnership with Western Kansas Career Showcases. The purpose of Western Kansas Career Showcases is to keep our graduates locally. In a career that they love, not a job, but a career they love, and living a life that they love also. I want to talk a little bit of our career showcases. Our career showcases is where we bring in students from area schools. The schools that we target are schools that Southwest Plains Regional Service Center out of Sublette works with. They're one of our partners. There's about 36 schools that they work with, and those are the ones that we've had. We've had 4 showcases so far, and the information we gave you, we have the 4 showcases. We're averaging we've had over 600 students and adults from schools, so we're averaging about 150 student/sponsored adults at the school. We're averaging about 15 school districts that come to each of these showcases. We're averaging about 11, 12 businesses that present at this, and the showcase is about building relationships. We connect the students with the businesses, the business with the students. We have follow-up. We want to thank you for being part of this. It wouldn't happen the way it's happening without your support, and that's really, really important to know. We've been at it 6 years. With 0 budget, 0 employees, and now we're a nonprofit. With you guys being a partner in this has just been instrumental. We have 3 showcases left. And you mentioned 2 of them. The third one is on the eastern side of our schools, which is in Clark County, Comanche County, and Clark County, Comanche County, and Meade County. And so we're having one in that area for them, but the other 2 are here. The healthcare showcase, we're anticipating a great number, and then the city county essentials showcase is the first part of March. So we're here to see if you have any questions for us. We've had 3 of the community colleges attend. Recently, our last 2, we've had Fort Hays State, which is in Garden City, has been part of this. So the information's there. The school districts are listed that have been part of it. And we just want to say thank you. This is a work in progress. And so we've had a lot of people contact us about what all's going on that are not even in this area. We spoke on this at a principals conference in the state principals conference, and there's a lot of small communities particularly that are in the same boat that some of ours with declining enrollment and lower population. And so questions for us?
Sir?
I attended a couple of these showcases, and I always appreciate Joe's enthusiasm and the pointers that he provides the students and the attention that he gets from the students. So just a quick observation about that. My two questions are this. One, would you explain a little bit more to the board and to the listening audience with regard to your relationship now with the School Administrators Organization? And what that means to you and what that's brought to the table? And then secondly, feedback from businesses who have been participating about whether you're seeing any results yet. I know it's early on with with the expansion of the showcase and so forth, but School Administrators Association and the business feedback.
Okay, thanks, Lana. The School Administrators Association is called USA Kansas, United School Administrators of Kansas. They're the umbrella of superintendents, principals, school boards, and their executive director I'm a former educator, and so I get into a lot of schools, and he knew what we were doing, and so he said, hey, we're experiencing the same problems. We're having schools closing out west or declining. Would you be interested in us partnering with you? And so they're a partner with us. They handle the website. They handle a lot of the, one of our goals is to be able to put the students that want their contact information out on a website where businesses can connect with those students. Students can connect with those businesses that are members of ours. So they're really, really excited to partner with us. And that was one of the ways we were able to start a nonprofit and go from there. And so the other thing is a lot of people relate this as a career fair, but it's not even close to a career fair. We get people involved. We teach them essential skills. One of the opportunities that I get personally is working with businesses, and our businesses, I'm always asking, what skills do young people lack when they come to go to work for you? And one of the very first ones they tell me is the lack of being a self-starter. And so some of the things that we work with in our showcases is getting kids up, getting them to be self-starters. They hear what businesses are all about, but they also go to small groups and learn from businesses. And then we have our own student-led leadership team of 14 students from 8 different school districts that help us in the process. So this isn't just an adult type thing, what we're going to do. Students are part of this. And for instance, at the healthcare showcase, they will be meeting with all the different healthcare people, but in the afternoon, our student leadership team will be taking them through 4 different areas of training. One is how to make a first impression. Another one is essential skills, how to be a self-starter. So it's much more than just a career fair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commission?
Joe, can you kind of fill us in? This started off, the concept was the trades were construction and meat packing and so on. You've added a few things since then. Can you name a couple or 3 of the newer ones?
Yes, thank you for asking that. It really started out just kind of a dream in the agriculture area and going from there. And as we talked with our board now, and others, as we decided that we really need, like our first 4 showcases were education showcase, business tech showcase. We had a ag showcase, and And then we had what we call our very first one was a kickoff showcase. So what we tried to look at is what types of careers are the most prevalent in western Kansas and target our showcases towards those.
Joe, thank you very much. It's rewarding to this commission to see the investment that we made and also to see the returns on our investment. Keep up the hard work.
Thank you.
I have one more. Could you repeat the dates and locations for your next showcases that the commissioner?
Yes,
mentioned earlier?
February 8th is our healthcare showcase. It's here at Garden City Fairgrounds. February 22nd is what we call an area showcase. That's going to be in Mineola. That's going to be not career specific, but it's going to be area specific. We'll have a variety of them. That's because of we're so wide in our areas of schools. And then March 5th is our city county essentials, and that will be here in Garden City at the fairgrounds.
After your talk, I think the public would appreciate those dates one more time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's a work in progress.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next for public comment, Dwayne Palmberg. Please introduce yourself to the public, Mr. Palmberg.
Dwayne Palmberg Land Surveying Services, and I've been seeing some things over the last 4 years since I bought Dave Matthews' business, and as our ages of our people that are farming, our farmers' ages are growing, they're starting to retire and they're selling off property. And we get into situations I've got right now. I've got a landowner who was selling, he had a bin site with 2 houses and some sheds. Well, there's no way to zone that, and how do you split it in a lot? It's all one ownership. It's going from one farm to another farm. No, you guys aren't liking waivers. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what do we do.
I want you to take your question to Mackenzie Phillips and see if we can get some structure to your question, because it's pretty broad, and
Well, it's a broad area.
and I want you to know that we're appreciative of citizen feedback, and very happy that you were able to continue with Dave's business, Mr. Matthews. And as you know, our agenda is oftentimes filled with surveyor's work. We have another surveyor in the room with another plat, and so it's important work for us.
Yep.
So if you would direct that to put some definition to it, we'd be glad to hear from you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Last on public comment to this morning is Mike Shupman. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Please introduce yourself to the public.
I'm Mike Shootman. I'm representing a rural residential area called Gulf Acres, and this is in reference to semi-parking. There's no enforcement out there whatsoever. There hasn't been for years. I got a particular neighbor that applied for a conditional use permit, and we went to the hearing, and he was denied because he's too close to everybody else's residence. You gotta be 200 foot. His truck literally sits 70 foot from my front door. Starting to pile up tires, waste oil. Have the same problem to the west of me on Nancy Street, and it's even worse. I mean, it's got junk, and trucks parked there all the time. I've made a complaint, several complaints this last month. Supposedly, the planner sent this guy a letter saying, if you don't remove the vehicle, the truck, that, we're going to enforce it with a fine or whatever it takes. They're just ignoring it. And, it's too close to Dwight's house, my house, the house to the north of them. I'd just like to see something done about this finally.
Thanks for bringing that up. I'm sure that we'd all like for the process to be fast, but it's not.
Oh, I understand that, but
But thanks for bringing your concerns to us and
we've had other residents show up at these meetings in the past years, and, that's really slow. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Cupid. Any other public comment that did not address?
Morning.
Sir, please state your name.
Steve Michael, and I serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals. And I'm here to back up Mike in saying that we do not have any enforcement out in the county. And to my knowledge, I ask, have they ever fined anyone in the county? Not to their knowledge. They fine people in town all the time for violations. They haven't fined anybody in the county, period, that I know of. Somebody needs to take charge of this, and it was several weeks ago when we denied this person parking his truck on his property. It's too small an acreage. We have allowed some where the acreage is larger, where they can pull their truck in, park it away from any of the other structures, and drive out in a normal fashion. This person is driving his semi-truck in to his property, backing out onto the street, and that's one of the reasons we denied it. The other one is you have to be able to turn around and come out, you know, in an orderly manner. Well, he doesn't. He backs out in the highway. He's backing, not a highway, street, paved road. And backing out, that's a safety issue. We can't have that. He's also in violation of storing oil. He services his truck there. We told him you can't do that. You can't park your truck there. So now he's skirted him by only parking his truck there outside the hours of 8 to 5 when the planning department can come and take pictures of violations, okay? So they finally got some pictures of him being there, having his truck parked on the property. Sent him a letter. He's done nothing. We have another individual doing the same thing in the same neighborhood, and nobody's ever done anything about this. I talked to the planning department, and I said, you need to let Mike know on this, what's going on. Where are we at on this? Because he had told me, well, I think it's going to the county attorney's office next week, or tomorrow. This was a week and a half ago. Nothing happened. I asked him, did you call Mike? Well, no. Do you have his phone number? We have a person with violation. You don't even know his phone number. I gave him the phone number. This is just silly. Somebody needs to back this up, check this out, get some enforcement. So what are we going to do? Are we going to fine him? Maybe. Nobody seems to know. So I guess my alternative is let's fine him $300 for a violation. And then if he doesn't do it, he doesn't comply, tow his truck. Have it impounded. Then he's looking at $1,000 to get his truck back. Maybe that'll get his attention. But we've got to put some meat in these violations. We have no enforcement in the county. And that's really all I wanted to say. Questions?
From the commission? If not, thank you.
Thank you for your help.
Thank you, Steve, and thanks for your service.
Do we have any other public comment? We'll close public comment then and move into the business agenda. First on the business agenda is from Compass Behavioral Health. Ms. Southern, please introduce yourself for the viewing public and those in the room.
Good morning. Lisa Southern with Compass Behavioral Health. I have a little bit of a cold that came on yesterday. I am here today in request of a letter that we will be sending to the Court of Tax Appeals. We have purchased, well, every year we purchase several vehicles. We purchased some this year, and we're not exempt from the personal property tax when we went to tag the vehicle. That has never been the case. So we got a letter from the Board of Tax Appeals, and they have requested that we complete an application as a humanitarian service provider, and with that we will attach a copy of our community mental health center license, and then we need a letter from a county entity saying that we provide a needed service. We're looking at purchasing another 40 vehicles in January of this year, as our staff has grown from around 200 to 258 with another 64 to hire. Many of those are service providers that do need a vehicle to get out and take care of people.
Thank you, Lisa. Does the commissioners have any questions? I'd just like to point out a few of the numbers that Lisa just shared with us. First of all, that we have 58 new employees in the Compass Area Mental Health System and expect another 50 to 60. Also, this is a substantial number of vehicles, and we're not talking about the sales tax issue. You guys have been able to avoid sales tax on vehicles. This is the registration tax, as I understand it.
That is correct.
Sir?
It's my understanding that the county assessor can sign that letter that you're seeking. Is that not the case?
We don't have any specifics as to who needs to sign it. We just brought it
He
here.
happens to be in the room, Mr. Chairman, but I've been down this road a little bit with the Red Cross when they bought an emergency response vehicle, looked like an ambulance, and had to buy a tag for it before we could get a refund on the tag. And it just seemed kind of odd at the time. The folks in Topeka said, I believe the county assessor, somebody involved in that chain can grant the authority to waive taxes on that vehicle, so.
Okay.
All right. Other questions for Lisa? We'll get Maria up here in a little bit. All right. I think what you want is the letter that you submitted.
That is correct.
All right. And before we make a motion on that letter, why don't we hear from Maria as to why we need that letter? Thank you, Lisa. Please announce yourself for the public and those in the room.
Maria Castillo, the Finney County Appraiser's Office. The letter is just needed as part of the application. They just need it from like a county elected official or someone in the community that can say that there is a need for this, and that's why they're needing the letter. And I'm assuming Compass chose you guys for the letter. In reference to his question, there is some stuff that I can exempt, and it's that those vehicles are not part of it. Like the ambulance that you were talking about is. And I think I told you the statute, it's 201, letter L. It lists some vehicles in there that I can exempt in office, and that just happens to be, I can't exempt those.
In other words, when I talk to you, Maria, the statute isn't clear that these are exempt, and you've encouraged Compass to file the exemption application with the Court of Tax Appeals, and the Court of Tax Appeals needs this letter.
Correct. Yes, the way exemptions work, it's always in favor of taxation if there's ever any doubt, and then you file with the Board of Tax Appeals, and then they will decide whether it's exempt or not.
Well, I would offer a motion to authorize the chairman to sign that letter, but it seems to me like home rule ought to home rule. So anyway, I offer the motion to give you the authority to sign it.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the submitted letter for approval to assist Compass in seeking exemption from registration tax on these new vehicles. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Maria. Next on our agenda is from the Nusser Addition parcel plat for consideration of approval. Lisa is here. My agenda says Valente, and so Elisa, take the lead.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Alicia Charles, Assistant Director for Neighborhood and Development Services. I'm covering for Dante this morning. What I have before you today is the Nusser Addition. It's at 1735 East Parallel Road. It contains 7 acres, and there is a residence on there and some other accessory structures. At this moment, the owner is wanting to split off a portion of it to be able to sell it in the future. So it's currently zoned agriculture, and it will not meet the ag requirements. So if they plan to do anything additional in the future, they will need to rezone it to a residential district. It went before the Planning Commission on November 16th, and they recommended approval of the plat. Questions?
Questions from the commission about this approval of this parcel plat? Is there then a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve this partial plat that's being requested.
I'll second, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved and seconded to approve the parcel plat. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Do we have that plat for signature?
It's amazing how you just pull those things out of your pocket, right?
Yes.
Next on our agenda is Board of Zoning Appeals appointments. And Lisa, you are the person addressing the commission. Please proceed.
Correct. Good morning again. The Finney County Board of Zoning Appeals is a 5-member board and has 2 members with expiring terms, John Fort and Steve Michael. John Fort would like to serve a second term, and the 2 open appointments are a 3-year term set to begin January 1, 2024 and expire December 31st, 2026. The following citizen has applied, and that is Paul Parrott. So your alternatives today would be the governing body may reappoint John Fort and appoint Paul Parrott, or the governing body may leave a vacancy and solicit interest in serving on the Board of Zoning Appeals. Staff would recommend reappointing John Fort and appointing Paul Parrott for these terms.
All right. Questions from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I think all of us know John Fort and his willingness to serve and how capable he's been in serving. But Paul's relatively new to our community, so I would ask that the commission permit him to come to the podium and just introduce himself. That will supplement his application.
That would be wonderful. Paul, are you here, sir? Elisa, if you would yield to Paul, and we'll hear from him.
As mentioned, my name is Paul Parrott. I am new to the area. I am the market president for Equity Bank. I am an Okie by heart, but my career, I saw it, I knew it was coming. My career has moved me to the Garden City area. Being a public servant is something that's dear to my heart. I've served on a couple of boards in the past, most recently in a professional manner, but in the past on a public manner. I was on the Building and Grounds Committee with the Tenkeller Baptist Association, which had heavy hands in the Baptist Convention of Oklahoma, and along with that brought the opportunity to bring some things into my hometown in Oklahoma, such as a basketball court, skateboard park, things of that nature for the youth. That's where my heart is with the youth, but again, public service is where I'm at.
Thank you, Paul. I do have a question for you.
Please.
You've applied both for the Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals. And the Board of Zoning Appeals is a quasi-judicial administrative board that hears appeals and doesn't have much work to do. The Planning Commission, on the other hand, is a little more active and meets more often. Can you discern or describe to us why you want to serve on both, and would it be better for you to choose one?
I can understand the hesitancy in trying to serve on both. I have a lot of free time. It's just me and my wife here in the community, and again, that's what I'm trying to do, is be active in the community and be a part of the Garden City area. I do have the capacity to serve on both. If there was a recommendation from the board, then it would be to the heavier side, I'm sure, because I do have the ability to be more active and be more involved.
In the planning committee.
Correct.
Commissioners, questions for Paul?
I have not a question for him, I have a question for Alicia.
All right, well, we'll get her back in just a second.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes.
Go.
My question is, with these two appointments, Alicia, does that bring the board to 5 members?
Yes, if you reappoint John and appoint Paul, then the Board of Zoning Appeals would be full with the 5 members.
With that, I would offer a motion.
I would ask for you to hold up just for a moment. If I read this materials correct, Steve's term that was just here addressing us, did he not reapply for reappointment?
He did not.
That is correct. He'd prefer to step down.
All right. Okay, now, sir, your motion.
My motion is to appoint Paul and John Ford, I'm sorry. I had a blank there for a moment, to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I'll second.
Right, this is for a 3-year term, beginning January 1 and expiring December 31, 2026. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Please make sure, Alicia, that you get a hold of Mr. Fort and Paul, congratulations on your appointment.
And then I'm sorry, I do want to add, for your question you had for me the last time regarding Butch Liker, we did double check with him and he is okay with continuing to serve out his term.
Yeah, thank you. I forgot to ask that. Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate you reaching out to him.
So the Board of Zoning Appeals has these two. Mr. Kreitzer, who are the other 2 members?
The other members would be Vicky Gurman and Butch Liker.
On our agenda, we're going to Planning Commission. Alicia, if you would, proceed.
The Planning Commission is a 9-member board and has 1 expiring term appointment. Leonard Hitt's term expires December 31st of 2023. The open appointment is a 3-year term set to begin January 1 of 2024 and expire December 31st of 2026. The following citizens in no particular order have expressed interest in serving on the Planning Commission: Paul Parrott and James Randall. Your alternatives are the governing body may appoint one of the candidates listed above, or the governing body may leave the vacancy and solicit interest in serving on the Planning Commission. Staff would recommend appointing one of the above listed.
Comments from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I truly appreciate Paul's interest in serving and interest that he expressed as far as having time to serve on both. But with that, I think Jim Randall is the one that we need to appoint to this board simply because he has been here in front of us and expressed some concerns and offered ideas for better planning and zoning. And so I would encourage Paul, and don't have the eye contact, to continue that interest and apply the next time that we have an opening. But at this point, Mr. Chairman, when you're ready for a motion, I would support Jim Randall for this position for a variety of reasons.
Thank you. Any other comments from the commissioners?
Question, I think. Our zoning board of appeals member is usually part of the planning commission as well. Who is that representative from the county?
So right now, it's Vicky Gurman. So come January 1, we will do the positions again. So we would ask someone from the Planning Commission to serve as a 1-year term on the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I concur in Commissioner Peschney's analysis and would encourage Paul to be involved in our community and welcome to Garden City. With that, Commissioner Peschney, you got a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we appoint Jim Randall or James Randall as the person to fill the 3-year term on the Planning Commission.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded that James Randall be appointed for a term commencing January 1 and expiring December 31 of 2026. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll next hear from Finney County Economic Development, Lana Duvall, President. Good morning.
Good morning. All right, just a few things to share. A couple of housekeeping. First of all, our regular meeting will be this Wednesday at 7:30 in the morning. We're moving it up a week because of Christmas. And then our annual meeting is now scheduled for January 18th. That's a Thursday. So the annual meeting, yeah, typically we start that around 11, do lunch and then presentations and so forth. But you'll get a formal invitation to that. But
I'm making notes, but where is your annual meeting going to be held?
in the endowment room at the Garden City Community College. You're welcome. Any other questions about the meetings?
Not yet. I'll see if I can interrupt you one more time.
Hey, no worries. All right. Things we've been working on. Obviously, we've talked to you a lot about housing. We continue to fight the housing battle, and we are excited. We have several multifamily projects, though, on the horizon right now. It's been a little bit tricky getting those to work with interest rates where they are, but we're starting to see things balance out like we had hoped they would. So we anticipate that we'll be able to move forward on some of those multifamily projects, hopefully first and second quarter of next year, which would be really good because Empirical will also be opening about that time and would probably really appreciate some housing for the folks they need to recruit here. Retail recruitment is going really well right now. We've got some really good interest from retailers, which is kind of interesting considering the state of the economy and the interest rates. But I think they see things, again, starting to balance, and our market is starting to look more and more attractive as we land some of the bigger retailers that other retailers look to for benchmarking. That'll continue to help us. Kohl's absolutely is one of those retailers that others in the industry look at kind of as a bellwether to what will work well for them. So we're excited about that. Had a good conversation with our area legislators last week regarding water and recent studies that Shannon has been involved with GMD3. I think he talked to you guys a little bit about that when he came and did one of the reports, but we'll likely be following up on some of that at the annual meeting. Obviously, water is a huge part of our region and our future. So I think it's important that we continue to update folks on that, and there's some really encouraging information out there now. And then the Early Childhood Task Force that the governor had appointed me to, we made our recommendation last Monday to the governor. So we'll see how that goes to go up to the legislature this year. It'll be interesting to see if they take it on or not. It is, as they like to say, an election year. And so they often tend to steer away from things that might create any kind of challenges for them and discussion that they might not want to get into during an election year. So we'll see what happens with that, but I feel like we made some good recommendations, and there was a good task force. There were good people involved in it. The right people, I think, were involved in it. So we'll cross our fingers and hope for the best there. And then the other big discussions that we've been working on have been Newman University and K-State, really looking to expand our four-year opportunities in the community and bring that here so that our folks don't have to leave the community in order to get an education and fulfill careers that we have here in our own region. So any questions you have for me?
Are you attending the county day at the Capitol? Is that what you were referencing, going to Topeka for, or a different time?
Yep, I am not doing the county day. We have Southwest Kansas Night Out, and then the CRETA Legislative Mission are the first week of February. I'll be there for those.
Questions for Lana?
Our Third Street Daycare Center, is it operational?
It is operational. There's little kitties there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Yeah, and we really appreciate that Telegram did a nice story on that as well. So.
Wonderful. Anything else? Thank you, Lana.
Thank you, Lana.
Thank you.
Next up on our agenda is Mackenzie Phillips. Please introduce yourself and what solution did you make in the Randall Estates?
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. So this morning, the board is asked to consider and approve an addendum to the development agreement for Randall Estates. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail of the background because we've gone over this past couple meetings. But at the last meeting, you did ask us to create an addendum to the development agreement for Randall Estates as an exemption to the requirements of the subdivision regulations. So Kara and I have been working with Jim Randall, and so this is the solution that we came up with. So as part of the addendum, the developer agrees to ensure that all contractors work on the development have contractor bonds in place and to assure the completion of the project. And those bonds will be in the name of the county will be listed as the first, I can't think of the word. So the second is the developer shall cause to have newly constructed roads and ditches maintained for a 2-year period. So this is already within the development agreement, but we're just reiterating it here in this addendum. So within that 2-year period, if the roads are not maintained to the condition of the county or are not in properly maintained condition, the county may choose to contract for the maintenance of the roads at the developer's expense. So the county will then bill the developer for that service, and he has within 30 days to pay the county. If the developer does not pay, then he agrees to allow payment for the proceeds of the RHID prior to the distribution to the developer. So, and just as a note, this alternative is intended to be a one-time exception. And I think it was your interest and it's our interest as well that with the new updates to the zoning and subdivision regulations that this doesn't happen in the future. So the alternatives before you this morning are to either approve the addendum, not approve the addendum to the development agreement, or direct staff to seek alternative solutions. And staff recommends alternative 1, which is the board may approve the addendum to the development agreement.
All right, any questions for Mackenzie on this proposed addendum?
Mr. Chairman, not a question to Mackenzie, but just because of his role in our county, I would ask our administrator if he has any additional comments or any thoughts with regard to this.
I believe your county counselor and development director has gone through this quite well, and we've worked on this thing for about a month or so. So,
thank you.
You're ready.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the addendum to the development agreement for Randall Estates.
Is there any further discussion, or excuse me, first and second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the proposed addendum, alternative number 1 in our agenda. Is there any further discussion?
Will you avoid putting these 75, 80 pages in our packet if we approve the motion?
I'll try. It's not as long as last time. Last week's was a little longer.
I'm getting tired of reading them things.
Well, we know this is a one-time deal. So anyway, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Get some paperwork done, and then we'll move on to cereal malt beverages.
Is for everybody the same?
I don't think so.
Just the chairman.
Next on our agenda, when you're ready, Madam Clerk, the cereal malt beverage licenses renewals for 2024.
Good morning, Commissioners. As you can see, we've got 7 applications this year for CMB licenses. All of these have had CMB licenses in the past. None of them are new this year. So we're just requesting that you authorize those.
All right, and we have the undersheriff in the room. Have we had any problems with any of these establishments? All right. The answer was negative. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll offer the motion to approve, authorize the issuance of those licenses listed.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the cereal malt beverage license for the 7 persons itemized in our agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on our agenda is to hear from Kelly Munyon, Human Resource Director, regarding a proposed resolution.
Good morning, Chairman. Excuse me. Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. I'm Kelly Munyon, Finney County Human Resources. The board is asked this morning to adopt Resolution 32-2023, the adoption agreement of a 401A plan with Empower Retirement. Empower Retirement currently services the Capers 457 plan for Finney County. Little background, February 7th of 2022, the board unanimously adopted a 401A plan with Nationwide Retirement. That was the chosen provider at that time for our one contract employee who does get employer contributions. Nationwide is also amending their plan to include the employer contributions for all county staff and gives the employees the same choices they have today between companies. Within the 2024 budget, funds were earmarked for an employer-sponsored 401A plan, allowing contributions from the employer as a match if the employees participate in the 457 plans already established. 401A employer contributions to the plan can begin once the employee reaches 1 year of service with the county, will have immediate vesting, and the match would be dependent on the longevity as shown. The alternatives are to adopt and approve authorizing the chair to sign the 401A plan resolution adoption agreement as outlined, or decline the adoption resolution for the new 401A plan with Empower Retirement and request that staff amend plan design. The recommendation is that you adopt the resolution, approve, and authorize the chair to sign the 401A resolution as outlined. There is no additional impact. The $100,000 was already earmarked in that 2024 budget.
Questions for Ms. Munyon? All right, I guess I have a few for both the administrator and you. When we passed the 2024 budget, the 401K expansion was built into that 2024 budget.
401A, correct.
401A.
Correct.
And I would also like to state publicly, I had questions for Kelly about this, and I got a thorough and complete email on it. I really appreciate the
Thank you.
making it clear
Yes, sir.
what we were doing here.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we adopt Resolution 32-2023 with regard to the 401A plan.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the resolution 32-2023 as proposed. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Dory, make sure you check my work. I didn't put the date in there.
Yes, sir.
Right, this would be a good time to take a break, and we're gonna take about a 10-minute break and then come back. And next item on our agenda will be to hear from the undersheriff and captain about sheriff's office. We're in recess until 9:30. Call the regular session back to order and next hear from Sheriff Mike Warren, and he's not here today, and instead we have Under Sheriff Steve Martinez and Captain Jeff Orbar. Welcome. Please announce yourself for the viewing public.
All right, good morning. My name is Steve Martinez. I'm the Undersheriff with the Finney County Sheriff's Office. With me, I brought Captain Jeff Orbar. He is our budget finance deputy in case you guys have any real hard questions for me today. What I'd like to do, I understand you guys have this in your packet, but for benefit of the viewing public, I'll just go ahead and read what Sheriff Warren has prepared. The Finney County Sheriff's Office would like to increase wages in patrol division, jail division investigations by $1 an hour to take effect actually today, December 18, 2023. This will be a move towards making us more competitive within our community and help us towards the retention of our employees. Right now, we're competing with businesses within our community for future workforce and for the retention of those we currently have. Recently, the Garden City Police Department had raised their starting hourly wage in November 2023, and they will raise it again in January 2024. Just for example, for a dispatcher, $20.57 an hour, and the patrol officers to start at an hourly wage of $24.99 an hour. An investigator will start at $26.93 an hour for the police department. Kansas Highway Patrol starts out at $25.68 an hour just while at the academy. Once they've graduated, they move to $28.31 an hour. You know, our findings show that entry-level positions at Empirical Foods is going to range from anywhere from $18.57 an hour to $22.60 an hour, and this just depends on what position you apply for there. We're 20 down. As of today's date, we currently have one has an application in with KBI. We have another one that's probably in the final stages of for a federal position. We have, I guess, information that others are looking. So, you know, we need to do something. Right now, we have jail deputies currently at $17.65 an hour. Is our starting. Our highest supervisor is $24.99 an hour, and that would be at a sergeant's grade. Patrol deputies currently start at $20.25 an hour, and our highest sergeant is only at $24.88 an hour. Our current investigator, $22.08 an hour, and our captain of investigations at $30.61 an hour, and she has almost 22 years of experience. You know, we would like to, you know, this $1 an hour increase, you know, it would not cause a raise in our budget. It's there. We have the money in our salary budget because we are short, you know, 20 people. So there's money available for that for this year, and for 2024. Actually, I don't see us hiring 20 people in a year where it will cause an issue with our budget, and if, you know, luckily we do start hiring people, we will have time to include that in 25 budget and beyond if we start hiring people. So, you know, that's just something we're hemorrhaging over there, and this would, you know, even if we do this or when we do this, we'll still be way behind everybody else and always still going to try to play catch up. We understand that, you know, you can't, you know, it's not feasible to do everything all at once, but hopefully this is just a start and a good start to help us hire people, get people in the door, and then hopefully we can keep them.
All right, thank you, Undersheriff. Questions from the commission?
Question, I guess I'm going to refer this back to our administrator. We had a salary increase across the board, did we not? And I know we're behind the ball on every department. Can you speak to that just a little bit?
Sure. If you recall, a couple of years ago, we did a salary survey, and you bumped up the salaries in October of 22. And then, of course, this year, here you have you've approved, authorized through your budgeting process, a 5% pay increase to go into effect next year for '24. So those are the two items that you have had in front of you. But the prior one in October, it was countywide work survey, and I think, if I remember the impact of that, it was probably somewhere around 1.3 or $1.4 million that you increased wages countywide in October of '22.
I have no objection to what you're presenting at all, but I guess I feel like the whole county's kind of behind the ball. I think according to our current job situations in Finney County, it's just an observation. And I think it's something we're going to have to really look at it again, countywide, not just with the sheriff.
That can be a process that you go through as you go through your your 25 budgeting process.
Other comments?
Well, I tend to agree with Commissioner Drees. I'm not opposed to the sheriff's office throwing more money, but what's the next department that's going to come in and stand here and want $1 an hour raise because they have it in their budget, and I can see a handful. But it brings me to this point, that the larger departments have some surplus funding in their salary budget. The little departments don't. They're bare bones. And so how do we make that equitable? And so I'm not going to stand in opposition to Steve's request, but it's going to be drawn on as patently unfair to the other county commission, other county employees.
And something we'd also like your approval on, Sheriff Warren would also like to raise the base salary for a jailer up to, from that $17.65 to $19 an hour as a base salary to.
Steve, you have my sympathy, but I will remind you that not very long ago, we acted to raise your retirement benefits by going from capers to KPNF, and that also cost a little money. So all I'm interested in is fairness to the other nearly 300 county employees.
I understand that, and hopefully they get raises too. I mean, I'm not opposed to that also, but again, you know, we're 20 people down. We have minimum staffing issues. Minimum staffing is 7 up in the jail. We would like to have 3 on patrol. Sometimes we only have 2 deputies out on patrol for this large county. And so, I mean, I get you would like to do everything across the board, but law enforcement is, is a special job. It's a dangerous job. We have our deputies pulling overtime. We're burning them out is while they're leaving. We had one sergeant up in the jail during one pay period bring home net more than the sheriff made because of all the overtime they were doing. That's not sustainable. I mean, these, and that's why they're leaving. I mean, the money sounds great to them, but how long can they do that? And
I'm not disagreeing with you at all. Don't misunderstand my point. But my point is, take Road and Bridge, for example. Are they behind pay-wise also? Well, they're the larger department, and I would guess that in their salary line item, there's a little excess money because they are not full staff.
right, and you know, again, only 2 on the street, and something happens. Where's our backup? It's a safety issue. Our people are working tired, which is a safety issue that we don't have the option to say we're not going to go in a day. We're 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Holiday. Well, then I would hope you would understand.
My question to the administrator is that if we do the $1 an hour increase, it's in essence $1 an hour plus 5%, because the 5% will kick in based on what the 2023 salary is set.
If it's passed today, that's correct.
We have the budget money to do that.
As Steve pointed out, because of their low, because of the high vacancy that they have over there for employment, they can absorb that in that budget. Now, the question is, do you, I don't know how many, the increase is approximately $140,000, correct?
Yeah.
What is that the equivalent in terms of personnel? 3, 4? Okay. So I don't know if that's a trade-off that the commission wants to consider. That's your call.
All right. Commissioner Finney, you have a remark?
Well, yes, comments more than any questions. I am always troubled with regard to these kind of requests because, and it's already been spoken to, because we do have vacancies in Public Works that we need to fill. And just to remind our board and people in the audience, we have mandated services in addition to the want services, the optional services, and the mandated services that we are, the services we're mandated by the state to provide are public health, emergency management, solid waste, law enforcement and jails, transportation, which is road and bridge, and noxious weed. And I believe that we need to really focus on those mandated services and then do other things beyond that if our taxpayers are willing to support those services. And then Steve has raised a great point as far as overtime, safety, all the other things with regard to our law enforcement, and that's one of the services we're mandated to do. Unfortunately, some of the people in Topeka don't understand that that's part of what we're mandated to do and part of what we have to fund. So, yes, I'm concerned that we've got one department coming in and asking. We may have another department next meeting and asking. I'm concerned about that process, if you will, but certainly I can support law enforcement trying to be more competitive so that we don't run into those safety issues and so forth that have already been referenced.
Commissioner Dries.
I think I have one final question, Steve. Is these hourly wages you presented, is those the current wages or the 2024 projected?
For the one I did for, quoted for the Garden City Police Department, they could correct me if I'm wrong here, will be after January 1.
And ours?
For them. The other ones are current for this year.
Not our projected 24.
Correct.
Well, I'm inclined to grant the sheriff's request because I think we appropriated the money in the 2024 budget. And if he can stay within the budget, that's fine. But if we get to be full operations, you're going to know you're going to have to come back here for supplemental appropriation, which might fall on deaf ears. So stay within your budget.
Well, I hope we can get fully staffed. I'd like to have that problem.
Wouldn't that be great? All right, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we approve the $1 per hour wage increase for the selected divisions in the Sheriff's Department to take effect today.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, with the reservations I've stated, I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to grant the request. Approve $1 per hour wage increase to the selected divisions as set forth in the agenda item effective December 18th, 2023. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks for keeping us safe. Next on the agenda is an item that was placed there by the chairman to create an LEC committee with regard to the remodel. This item was placed on the agenda to assist in planning and construction of the LEC remodel, to assist in communication and collaboration with the affected parties, including the city, and assure county commission participation in the important decisions of 1 and 2. The proposed committee would be an appointment by the commission. Commissioner Dries has volunteered to chair this committee, along with composed of the sheriff, 1 county citizen designee of the sheriff, 1 police department designee, and 1 city management designee, and our county administrator This is not a lack of confidence or ability to complete this project, but rather to improve communication and collaboration. That's the item before the commission. And is there any discussion on this proposal?
Mr. Chairman, I think I probably started all this, but this is to me, this is a very multi-million-dollar project with the LEC building, and I think it just behooves the county as general to have as much representation, especially from the commission and other departments to it's like you say, it's a communication thing. I have full confidence in our staff and what they've done so far to date, and I believe they will continue to provide excellent leadership in that. But I think it's just a way for the community to have more representation and feel like our representation as a commission is there to represent them. So I wholeheartedly approve of your suggestion, sir.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I've examined the proposal, and to me, it makes good sense for the community and for the commission. So when you're ready, I would offer a motion.
Well, I do want to make sure that we're clear that the meetings of this committee will be on the call of the assigned chair, which is proposed to be Commissioner Dries, and make reports as requested by and to us, the county commission. I do envision biweekly reports to be included in the county's agenda, and also good collaboration and communication with the city, our partners in that building over there.
I might point out that they already are on a schedule. I believe it's Tuesday morning. I'm sure holiday season will interrupt that a little bit, but after the first year, it'll be a weekly meeting, teleconference. Is that not correct?
Yeah, most of them will be a teleconference, although I believe the next one will be in person, if I recall it correctly.
All right. If I understand, you're ready to make a motion, Commissioner Jones, to create an LEC remodel committee to assist in the planning and construction phase, assist in communication with the affected parties, assure county commission participation in the important decisions of 1 and 2. This committee will be composed of the chair of the committee, and in your motion, you are designating Commissioner Dries as that committee chair, the sheriff, 1 county citizen designee of the sheriff, 1 police department designee, and 1 city management designee, and Robert Reese, our county administrator. Is that your motion, sir?
That's my motion.
Is there any other comment with regard to the composition of the committee or the motion, and is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I might suggest that we have our assistant administrator also part of that. She's a very detailed person and provides us a lot of information in that existing meeting, but I would really appreciate Jenny Hamill to be also listed as part of this group.
Okay, we're going to modify your motion, Mr. Jones, to include the assistant administrator and chief financial officer.
So be it.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to create an LEC committee chaired by Commissioner Dries to be composed of the sheriff, 1 county citizen designee of the sheriff, 1 police department designee, and 1 city management designee, Robert Reese, and assistant administrator Jenny Newberry, who is also our chief financial officer. Good luck to this committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Commissioner Dries, we'll look forward to you and the administrator's reports back to us on a bi-weekly or in preparation for our regular meetings. And to Manny Ortiz, city commissioner, and to the city administrator here, I hope this committee will form the basis of additional communication of what's going on with regard to the LEC. Your input is viable and important to what we are doing, and we'll make sure we get it right. Thank you for being here today. All right, upcoming meetings and events for Dory.
Nothing new of note. It's pretty light calendar, just based on the time of year.
All right, we move on then to administrator's report. We'll start with the fire department, and we have a new person here today to give us our monthly incident report, and please announce yourself to the viewing public, and welcome.
Morning. Battalion Chief Jeremy Moore. So for the month of November, we responded to 26 calls out in the county. The breakdown for the townships, 3 of these calls were for Garfield, 16 calls for Garden City Township, 2 for Ivanhoe, 2 for Pierceville, and 3 for Sherlock. Majority of these calls were composed of rescue and EMS service calls, were the majority of those calls, with a few being false alarms and other responses.
We signed an application for a grant study on, I think, wildfires for the police department. Please check in with the chief on how we're doing with that analysis.
Okay.
As you're well aware, we have a tremendous amount of fuel
Oh, yes.
out in the countryside as a blessing and as a result of bountiful rains.
Yes.
But we need everyone to be mindful that it doesn't take very long to dry out after our wonderful rain. And with this much fuel, we'll need citizens' help in controlling any uncontrolled burning.
Yes, sir.
Anything else for the report from the commissioners?
No. And a reminder, gentlemen, tomorrow is the groundbreaking for a new fire station and EMS station. Hope to see you guys in attendance, 11 o'clock in the morning.
That's tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Yes, sir. And also the community. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Mackenzie Phillips, and Development and Administrative Coordinator for the county. Welcome back, Mackenzie. Please state your name for the viewing public.
Good morning again. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. I don't have much of an update for you today, but I did want to let you know that Western Kansas Corridor did notify us that their improvements were finished, so we're out inspecting it. Now I think our engineer is going to be going out with our right-of-way supervisor this week to check out the improvements that they made. So with that, are there any questions for me?
Commission?
Okay, thank you.
Next on our agenda, we do not have a county councilor's report. Kara is out today, and we'll go straight to the county administrator's report. Boss, what do you got?
Sure, in addition to what you had in your packet, we had numerous meetings last week to finish up year-end processes with the various departments. I think all we have is just one more left tomorrow, I believe, finish up the year-end process. The auditors were in last week, did some preliminary work, and we are continue, obviously, on some of the various projects that we have going on. I believe that Commissioner Drees will probably give you an update on the LEC project that he sat in on. Neither Commissioner Drees or Commissioner Pishney was available for the first meeting for the EMS Health Department project, but in essence, it was just setting up a schedule, and we'll meet with them personally after the first of the year. I think we have some dates for that meeting.
All right. And with regard to the EMS building, I know Skylar's here, but I know you guys are working on it, but do we have a hard timeline for that 2024 construction of that building?
That's what we discussed on last week on Thursday, developing that timeline. When they come out after the first year, we'll follow up on that to memorialize that timeline.
All right, very good. Thank you. Anything else in your report, sir?
That is it for today.
Questions for the administrator from the commission? All right, then we'll work on any other department monthly reports. Anything else? report regarding the fairgrounds.
Fairgrounds is looking at a few policy changes and so forth that they've been working with the county counselor on. And you'll see that in the report as well as a fee schedule.
In the future?
Yes.
All right.
I might
Commissioner
follow up.
Drees.
On the fairgrounds or exhibition building project, are we proceeding with a pretty much design on what we need to do there?
Yeah, if you recall, we had approximately $100,000 grant that we severed off from the health department to be able to make some of the improvements. What we found is the lack of availability of materials.
Go figure.
Yeah. So what we have going on is, in essence, making certain that any optional improvements that we make to that facility qualifies as acceptable expenditures under the grant agreement.
Okay.
So it's a going back and forth. We'll have a list of a few things that we can do for that, for the improvements out there.
Okay, well, we get to see
Yes.
that list eventually?
Yes.
When it's all
Yep.
settled?
Yep. You know, if you recall, we have a suspense date of June 30 of next year that we have to spend that $100,000 on. And so, once again, it's just finding the availability of materials of the various improvements, which some of them included upgrade to electrical system and IT stuff to help that with that facility, as well as some flooring maintenance and so forth. So it's
Thank you.
All right. Anything else on our agenda that we need to report? And are we moving into commissioner reports? Is there anything else? Have I missed anything? Okay, we'll go left to right, and Commissioner Davy Jones.
I don't have much. I played like I was sick, and so I missed some meetings. But the only meeting I've attended, Mr. Chairman, is the local emergency planning committee meeting, which was last Thursday. And it was a rather routine meeting. They're still looking for, Mackenzie's looking for somebody who'd like to step forward and serve as a chairperson. So she's volunteered to fill the gap until somebody's found. But otherwise, no other news.
All right, Commissioner Drees.
Monthly meeting, the Convention Visitors Bureau, attended that one, nothing dramatic new, kind of a closeout of the year type of meeting. Had a lot of conversation with some of the folk out on Prairie View, which is on the end of Jenny Barker Road, about 3.5 miles past the end of the pavement. And I did drive that road, and they have some legitimate complaints. I visited with staff, and Robert is very well aware of it. And the road needs some loving. There's some potholes that make Chicago proud on that road. So staff is aware of it, and hopefully that'll get improved. Kind of wanted to address a little bit about our trucks and golf acres. I've been in contact with many of those folks out there. This complaint of theirs has been going on for a long time now. And I am familiar with the truck and the way he is parking, and yeah, I can see we're backing out on that road would be a hazard. So we've kicked this can pretty hard too down the road, and we've got to get some enforcement in some of these routes. The fellows on the zoning board of appeals are getting frustrated because what they're doing is not getting backed up. So it is something we do need to address.
All right, very good. I also, as part of your report, spoke with the administrator and with Mackenzie to follow up on what enforcement needs to be done. All right, Commissioner Finney.
Well, and I would just segue from that. That's been an ongoing issue with regard to enforcement. Once the planning and zoning people or county board put something in place, and yeah, we need to take a hard look at that. Part of it, to me, though, comes back to the statutory home rule versus constitutional home rule that municipalities have with regard to some of that enforcement. But regardless of that, I think we need to look at it from a county perspective and see what we can do. My report is, I spent quite a bit of a week at the KAC conference, as well as did Robert and some of the other staff members in the county. And that's always a great conference to attend, and it will be in Wichita again next year. I can't remember the dates right now. And so I do encourage others to go to attend that. A lot of it is for staff, things that they, instruction for staff, but part of it does apply to the county commissioners with regard to legislative issues and so forth. And I get as much, as we do with many conferences, as much of the relationships that I've built with other commissioners across the state over the years. And it's always good to see those from Miami County and other places that I don't see often. Outside of that, I wanted to mention some upcoming things. We have KLPG winter meeting in Topeka on January 23rd. We have the Local Government Day in Topeka, which is cities and counties. On January 24th, I plan to be in Topeka that last week of January for those things. And then in February, the week of the 5th, we have the Day at the Capitol is on February 8th, but prior to that, there's some things going on as well in Topeka. So I plan to be in Topeka the last week of January and the week of the 5th of February for quite a bit of that week because of the things we have going on that I think need our attention and advocacy. And lastly, I would say for that Day in the Capitol, that's KAC Day in the Capitol, and Finney County will have a table. Kelly and some of the others are orchestrating that. We were present last year at the Day of the in the Capitol, and I think it's just a great way to promote Southwest Kansas and Finney County specifically.
And what day is KAC at the Capitol?
That's February 8th, I believe I said. Let me double check, but I believe February 8th.
Commissioner Drees?
Mr. Chairman, I would,
Yes. February.
then I have another addition.
All right.
February 8th, yeah.
All right. For your assistance in representing the county on January 24th and February 8th, will you be seeking reimbursement for the county since we're going to be sending you for that?
Yes.
All right, well, wonderful. When we get that on the agenda for January 2nd, to approve those expenses for Commissioner Pishning. Back to you.
I need to extend my report a little bit. I did attend the LEC meeting on last Tuesday. Quick report, Sean and his company have seem to be got the bulk of their jail recommendations presented in fair detail. But Mr. Henderson from the engineer side of it is still just shooting a ballpark structural type, what we need on that one. So I expect in the next meeting, or at least a couple after that, he'll be more detail on his side of that report.
So you get to give us the sticker shock?
I don't know if you want the sticker shock quite yet.
Okay, well, I don't want it. I just didn't get through the holidays without the shock of it. Anything else, Commissioner Drees?
That's it,
All
sorry.
right. My report is that I do intend to attend the community celebration of the groundbreaking of Fire Station Number 3 with the EMS facility adjacent, and then part of that building. Kudos to the commission for seeing this through and revising the plans and making the necessary changes to that fire station. Also to Skylar heading up EMS. I'm going to have another station providing services and emergency services to our citizenry. For those who don't know, this Fire Station Number 3 with the EMS facility attached is funded and paid for by a 30-cent sales tax that was approved by the legislature and by the county and city commissions, and as well has been reviewed by an oversight committee according to an interlocal agreement. I am the chairman of that committee, and we are proud to see the work come to groundbreaking and completion to provide additional services for our community. It is a growing and vibrant committee or community, and this is an essential service. And congratulations to Skylar in getting this done, as well as to the city, its staff, and Fire Chief Ursig. I also attended the Compass Christmas party and a brief board meeting that we had, setting in motion the incredible changes and growth that is occurring at Compass Area Mental Health. This is an organization that has decided to take on the status of a CBHCC designation. We are going to have in the near future for Compass an adult crisis shelter, as well as the present, existing, and running children or minors shelter. We now have same-day service between 9 and 3 o'clock of each day at any of the area mental health centers, to where you get same-day service for anyone in crisis. This is a considerable change and upgrade in community health services for our organizations. We're looking to work with law enforcement in those crisis situations, as many of the calls for our law enforcement community have a real issue with the person being in crisis for a mental disease rather than a crime. So having Compass get this designation, that board is chaired by Van Hampton out of Dodge City. It is an organization that's providing mental health services to all of our area counties here in southwest Kansas that are members. And as the public should know and be reminded, that is funded, partially funded by your tax dollars at work, and providing area mental health to all of our citizenry here in Finney County. Congratulations to Compass. Commissioner Pishney.
Your comments triggered one thought. In the KAC, at the KAC conference, there was a session with regard to that designation for mental health organizations, and Lisa Southern was on the panel that spoke. And it was interesting to me, and her job was to point out the difference between Sedgwick County, which is just one county with its mental health organization, versus an organization like Compass that represents multiple counties. And it was interesting to me that Lisa fed back to me that Sedgwick County didn't really appreciate, or not, that's not the right word, didn't understand. I think they appreciate what she's doing, but didn't understand how difficult it is for Compass to represent how many jails, how many different organizations and law enforcement and so forth, where in Finney County they have Wichita Police and some other cities, but one sheriff's department and one jail. So it was really an interesting session on explaining urban versus rural as we address the mental health and behavioral health issues.
The public might question, or commissioners or anyone else, why we're making this designation and providing these mental health services. A, there's a growing need for that in our country. Two is that our needs have not been met by local healthcare providers. Compass has had to make up the difference. And the one thing that Ms. Southern shared with us as board members at our last board meeting is the tidbit that she was encouraged to share at the KAC meeting was the difference between the size of Sedgwick County or Topeka and Shawnee County, the one district areas. Her crew covers 11,000 square miles. 11,000. Her area is bigger than several states in this country. So that having been said, that is my report. I'm looking forward to making some opening remarks tomorrow at the groundbreaking. We have very pleasant weather in store and a wonderful community event of Fire Station number 3. It shows what we can do when we get the taxpayers and governing authorities on the same page with this kind of capital improvement on a sales tax, rather than on the backs of landowners. That's my closing remark. Anything else at this meeting? All right, then a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn, sir.
Second. Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.